Imagine standing on the edge of the deepest cave in the world, where the darkness is so deep you can't see your hand in front of your face. Now, imagine you're about to descend 7,257 feet into that abyss alone, with no one knowing where you are. This isn't a story about a daring adventure. It's a story about how one man's passion for discovery led to a terrifying fight for survival. Sergei Kozeyev was not just another explorer. He was a man driven by an insatiable curiosity and a passion for caves. With years of experience under his belt, Sergei had ventured into some of the most dangerous and uncharted underground spaces on Earth. But his latest challenge was unlike any he had faced before. The Veryovkina Cave, the deepest known cave on the planet. Located in the remote Arabica Massif of the Western Caucasus, the Veryovkina Cave plunges 7,257 feet into the Earth's crust, far beyond the reach of conventional exploration. Why would an experienced explorer like Sergei choose to descend into such an unforgiving abyss? It wasn't just about the thrill of discovery. It was about testing the limits of human endurance. The cave, with its dark, narrow passages, had long called to adventurers, promising both danger and an unparalleled sense of achievement. Sergei's journey was a risky gamble, but the reward of conquering such an extreme environment was a prize few could resist. As Sergei Kozeyev arrived at the entrance of the Veryovkina Cave, a sense of foreboding washed over him. The cave's mouth, hidden deep in the rugged landscape of the Arabica Massif, seemed to breathe darkness itself. Jagged rocks loomed above, and the air was thick with the chill of the mountain, carrying the scent of damp earth and stone. The entrance felt like the mouth of a great beast, ready to swallow him whole. Despite the beauty of the surroundings, there was an unmistakable aura of danger, an eerie silence hanging in the air, broken only by the distant echoes of water dripping deep inside the cave. Before beginning his descent, Sergei carefully checked his gear ropes, harnesses, headlamps, and emergency food rations. Every piece of equipment had to be in perfect working order. As he tightened his helmet and adjusted the harness, the weight of the decision began to settle on him. His mind wandered to the loved ones he hadn't told, the risks that lay ahead, but the allure of the cave's depths was undeniable. With a deep breath, he took the first step into the darkness, the tension palpable in every move. With each cautious step, Sergei Kozeyev began to descend into the inky blackness of the Veryovkina Cave. The cold air hit him like a wall, its chill seeping through his layers of clothing, biting at his skin. The sound of his boots crunching against loose gravel echoed off the walls, each footstep amplified in the silence. The narrow tunnel, which initially seemed manageable, quickly grew tighter, forcing him to crouch lower, his body pressed against the jagged rock. Every move felt deliberate, calculated, his senses heightened, as if the cave itself were watching him. The deeper he went, the more the cave revealed its unpredictable nature. The path narrowed even further, forcing Sergei to squeeze through tight passages, his chest scraping against the cold stone. In places, the descent became a vertiginous drop, requiring him to carefully rappel down sheer walls, the ropes groaning under his weight. The deeper he descended, the more disorienting the journey became. The air grew thicker, the darkness more complete. The sound of his own breath felt deafening in the silence, and for a moment, Sergei had to shake off the sudden, unsettling thought that he was completely alone, detached from the world above. But even as his body began to tire, the explorer in Sergei couldn't help but be captivated by the beauty of his surroundings. Strange, delicate rock formations glistened under his headlamp, their surfaces shimmering like polished marble. An underground river snaked through the cavern, its water sparkling in the dim light. Yet, for all the wonders around him, a subtle feeling of dread lingered. as if the cave was drawing him further into its depths, and there would be no easy way back. As Sergei descended further into the abyss, the cave's unpredictable nature took a cruel turn. He reached a narrow, winding passage that seemed to close in around him. The tight squeeze forced him to crawl on his hands and knees, his breath shallow, his limbs cramped from the exertion. But then, disaster struck. A sudden, sharp drop appeared before him, a deep, almost vertical chasm that he hadn't anticipated. The rope that had served him well so far seemed too short to bridge the gap, and the walls were too smooth to grip. For a moment, Sergei froze. His heart pounded in his chest, the echo of his breathing louder than ever in the oppressive silence. With his body pressed tightly against the cold stone, Sergei tried to maneuver, but his limbs felt heavy, his muscles aching from hours of descent. His headlamp flickered uncertainly, casting eerie shadows against the walls. As the realization began to settle in, he was trapped. The air felt suffocating, as though the very cave itself were closing in on him. The cold was biting now, seeping into his bones, and the exhaustion weighed heavily on his mind. Panic began to creep in, but Sergei quickly fought it back. With dwindling supplies, Sergei's survival instincts kicked in. He rationed his remaining food carefully, every bite a reminder of how precious his resources were. The cave's icy grip made staying warm a constant battle, and his headlamp flickered in the dark, casting erratic shadows that seemed to mock him. The isolation was overwhelming his mind. Deprived of contact, began to play cruel tricks. Strange sounds echoed through the tunnels, and he thought he saw movement in the corners of his vision. Desperation grew with each passing hour. Should he attempt tighter, more dangerous spaces, or keep waiting? The cave, once an adventure, now felt like a prison closing in. Realizing he had no other choice, Sergei desperately attempted to contact the outside world. His radio crackled, but there was no signal. In the eerie silence, he called out, hoping for any sign of help. Meanwhile, rescue teams were mobilized the moment Sergei's disappearance was reported. They quickly formed a plan, but the treacherous winding passages of the cave made progress slow and perilous. With each obstacle, they faced narrow tunnels, tight spaces, and the looming threat of time running out. The rescuers pushed forward, driven by determination. The emotional weight of the operation weighed heavily on them and Sergei's worried family. Despite the rescuers' valiant efforts, Sergei's fate was sealed. His family, the rescuers, and even the onlookers felt the weight of the loss. The final moments were filled with grief and silence, a reminder of the price of chasing adventure. Sergei's story serves as a haunting lesson. The thrill of exploration can come at a great cost. While pushing the boundaries of human endurance is admirable, preparation, caution, and communication are essential. His tragic end underscores the unexpected dangers of extreme exploration and reminds us that safety must always be the top priority in any adventure. Sergei's unwavering passion for exploration will forever be remembered. His contributions to cave exploration inspire future adventurers. Yet, his story serves as a cautionary tale. No adventure is worth the cost of life. Always prioritize safety, preparation, and communication. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more.